Hello, everyone. Okay, we're moving here. Very good. So I'll begin and thank you, everyone, for joining. So I'll begin with, this overall ascension. Of course, December 21st of 2020 that just went by was a very significant um, change, let's say globally and everywhere else. However, it is a very, looking for the word here, it was a very significant point in this ascension. Uh, what it has done is it has accelerated the timeline for the new age, but it also accelerated the departure of the evil unable to go forward. So hello, everyone. So, having said this, I've mentioned and wrote about it there. There is this separation phase, and what you are seeing is that, yes, there'll be many become sick, mostly the evil ones, and you will see a separation. They cannot go forward on this timeline where we're taking humanity. So, there is an eradication process of the evil and the dark. So everything is a success always with this ascension. However, we just upped the ante, if you will, and upped the scale that very rapidly, every moment now, decisions are being made more or less by the darkness. However, they don't have any redemption process. They are on uh, a downward spiral. They are imploding. And, their last desperate attempts where they don't know what to do because they don't have an option left. Out of their desperation, they resort to um, desperate fear-based acts. And part of this is interesting enough, and I know others of you have seen it as well. So they become more blatant with their attacks, and you see the trolls, what are out there that are attached to governments in the darkness as well. And with the trolls, which are part of the darkness that you'll see on your social medias, you may get phone calls, these petty pests. It's all they have left to do. So they try to intimidate ones. They try to keep you busy and they try to distract you from your focus. So be wise to what they are. And I know many of you watching this see that I'm contending with them on the new uh, global people's new monetary system, and also on my page. So, mostly I ignore them and I don't pay much attention to them. And it's so uplifting when you see them coming on, especially on my posts, because I use it as a gauge of the intense fear, how I am pressuring them to expose themselves even more. And this is what the light does. So at any time, when you see trolls popping up, you know you're doing a good job. So the main thing is, yeah, the troll pops up, you say, okay, I see it, him or her, but this means I'm doing a good job. So what you do is you keep focused on your light project you're doing and keep taking that forward. And you ignore them because you don't want to become distracted by them. Now, with I, in this case, over the last couple days, as you see, I normally don't comment nor reply to some of them, but I am doing it because in this case, I'm using them as a very good example to share with you, and also to blatantly show how they are so afraid of what we're doing in the least at taking things forward. So I use them as an example, and they become a very good benefit. And always in the past, at different times. I would use those as examples as well when trolls would appear, when I'm teaching to show ones, say, okay, here's one here. And I would use the troll sometimes to comment, to put in the higher light perspective. So then ones watching could see what the troll said, but they were able to see what I said, which would counter and subdue the troll. So then they were learned how to word their light language. I mean, word their language that it's more from the light, so it would subdue the trolls. And what's funny with it, in the first measures, when you began to come up, this is a dark troll with a comment, and when you come up against it, then what they try to do is, go lower by mean become more ferocious. So, but what occurs with it, and if you hold your light and your happiness and your knowledge of what's going on, you can put a little light dig in there that gets them even more furious, and they expose and reveal themselves with the more anger, that they come out. It distinguishes that they're not of the light. Anyone of the light does not have anger and, accuse and blame ones. So what you do is you blatantly expose and reveal them. So in the past, that it is a fun game at doing that. Now, having said this, not everyone is evil. There are light ones that come in that, they may be a little bit negative, and it's because of the fear they have not overcome yet. And with this ascension, you have ones at so many levels, as you know. And especially at this time, there are so many that are waking up, shaking their heads. They don't know what to believe. They know they've been fully deceived. And, the rights globally have just been pressured and stripped from them. They are in kind of mild states of paranoia. They don't know who or what to trust. So when these ones come up, and they are showing up by getting information from a few teachers and others, the information is, Rick, we're seeing them come, and I'm also seeing them as well. So these ones that are awakening, they don't need the sympathy. What they need is the strong compassion. Say, okay, we know, what's been going on here. If you're interested in these facts, here are the things to get you stable. But also, by being awakened, you can say, it's okay, everything is all under control, we know what's going on, we will just inform you, and, assist in your most gracious way that you can. With me, I'm a teacher that sometimes I'm stern, which to get a point across, and, most of the time, I'm just straightforward with it, and I don't dive into, when I'm assisting ones, even though I have compassion, I don't sympathize deep with them, because when you're teaching ones, and you go down that low, it kind of diminishes that you're energizing where they're at. You need to stay a little bit above to assist them, to bring them up to you, to get out of the sympathy, if you will. So, just saying. How are we doing here, everyone? Is this a pretty good feed? See lots of questions. Can someone just give me an update here? I guess it's running pretty good. Okay, we're good. So, with the darkness, this is their last ditch efforts at it, and more are becoming aware of the remnants of them, and that's all is left, the remnants of the darkness. The main players were taken out in 2012, and that's why ever since then. Thank you. Yeah. that's why ever since then everything's been imploding for the darkness, but it needs to be deconstructed to for this new what we are in now and what we're creating. So the destruction process is revealing, let's say, globally to all the corrupt governments, everything that was corrupt in the way it was built. So we had these 7 years of tribulation, which went from 2012 to 2019 linear time, and that's what gave the individuals, everyone, the opportunity to judge themselves, during that time, to redeem themselves in the areas where the ones were ascending, to do their inner work and change their old ways of acting and reacting so they're able to ascend with the physical vessels intact. So that was a trial and tribulation period. And, we've been in since then the great revelation period, which it's actually over. There's been enough revealed long ago. So what we are doing now is more so uplifting and shaking off the evil as it is. So um, it's being, yeah, globally exposed everywhere and it cannot go forward. So at the same time, you have the remnants of evil being shaken off. You have all of humanity and the ascending souls, which are billions, are becoming um, more empowered, and they know they have this hope, and this is important. This, any of you that are knowledgeable now about the global people's monetary system we're putting together and connecting all the groups, this is what we are creating for humanity to slide into, to transition into. So having said this, we are the co-creators. Yes, it's true, and now is the time to have this in place, considering the global chaos. And yes, it's been global. The protests in Europe and all over. And what ones are becoming uh, so part of the destruction to go into the new um, ascending timelines where we're at for humanity, and to actually bring heaven down to earth for humanity. This is the ascension as well, and it's part of the overall mission. Um, to do this, everything with the old systems had to be destructed. And I'll go a little bit further into depth with this. You need to go back to the beginnings of the written law and who it was written by. And then you need to come forward knowing that everything that was ever written has been manipulated and infiltrated. And, even every constitution that was given upon the planet from every country has been infiltrated and is really null and void. And if you wish to get down to the exact actuality of the law that put these things in place, then it is void. It is null and void. There is no credibility. There is no integrity within it because they're all designed for this corrupt system that was in place, the entire judicial system. I mean, you would have what you thought was a human rights consortium or whatever to assist people. But what you come to find out with these human rights committees, UN, um, and what's the other one? UN, international law, when, these were what you thought were the governing things of to protect all of humanity. But the problem with it is that this international law, it has to be enforced by the governments of the countries. But when you have the governments of all the countries corrupt, there is no one left to enforce the international law. So the highest law upon the surface then becomes the God given rights and laws within all humanity. So the last resort of law is within each one of you. It is it supersedes all law upon the planet. This is your God given rights. So in these times of the great tyranny and destruction to humanity and the insane practices of limiting them with money, it becomes the people's, the individuals' obligation to what they are in this world, and also for your families and your children to join together and establish the people's law and the freedom. All else has failed, but also it has failed because it was divinely orchestrated to fail. This last year was a divine orchestration to restrict everyone, and mostly for the masses, to get them to wake up. I mean, how much could they be insulted? Like, I like the one about wearing diapers on the plane. I mean, and keep everyone in their house. How much could a normal person take? Yes, there was, many suicides as a result of it, but we need to look at these ones also for humanity that committed suicide. They are actually heroes because they showed the public, how inhumane the governments are by what they were doing. So it made it more of a no-brainer for everyone, and it was designed, as well in the for this time. Everything contributed for this time. And having said that, I speak with this, there is no death for what we are. And however, this is to be looked upon the planet as an experience as well. But it is a serious experience, or we would not even be here transitioning humanity. So it means that there are very significant reasons involved in this. So things need to be done here in the material realm, and we are all the ones that are doing it. And having said that, yes, I am a leader. I openly said that before. I'm an overseer of this ascension, and my work is vast. And, there are in the past a few I shared things with. They could understand it a bit, but let me say, there are very few, uh, a lot more now. There's millions now that can understand when I say something, what my divine mission is here with all of you and the ground crew. And this is one thing that Father reminded me of a few times, that this is a team effort. This is not all me, although I wanted to do it all and jump in and get it done myself. That is part of this little bit of this humanoid nature, to go and do everything. But nevertheless, it is teamwork. It's all of us, and it needs to be done this way. To the old way of societies with all of these leaders with different laws and different things. No, humanity has to become one. So now, having said this, let's look at what's currently happening in the U.S. and North America. Okay, I took a breather because I was rambling for about 20 minutes, so we'll get back at it. One thing I love to say is have no fear of anything. This is all divinely assured, everything going forward. So there is nothing to fear. And I know many of you can attest that we cannot be killed because we're here to do an important divine mission upon the surface to take humanity forward. And Prime Creator is omnipotent above anything in this realm, and you are empowered beyond anything ever known before in this realm. Mostly, there, we had a couple great ones in the past, that are they were endowed or bestowed, with the divine prowess, and evidently it showed forward, and they caught the one's eyes to pay a little bit of attention at least. So having said that, though, yeah, you're all you're all very powerful, as you're coming to see. And I can say this freely because I know many of you have confirmed it to yourself. You have seen the miracles, and you know it's true. Okay, people in America. Okay, so what we have, I want to look at some numbers here, very quickly for a little bit. And these are the factual numbers. So if we look at a population in the US at, let's say, 328 million, whatever it may be, and again, if we jump back to the election of Trump in 2016, and quickly just look at some of the numbers in 2016 again. I know I'm going back, but at that point, there were, let's say, three quarters were awakened enough at that point to know that governments were corrupt. But when we look at this figure, even today, we know what occurred within the election, if you will, and it was a long road at revealing and setting up the corruption for the people to have this in place for these times. And we have surpassed, as you know, we surpassed the level of documentation that you needed to fully expose and disclose the evil upon the planet and the darkness. It's um, a lot of it has leaked out. Some of it has come out, as we're seeing, in the 4D world, and there's a lot more to come very quickly. However, the amount has surpassed what is required to go forward with humanity, to go forward with the new structures and new systems. So that is also why I got the divine cue uh, back in December, I believe. It was time to initiate the gathering of the global peoples, all of the groups that were seated here, working on different sovereign projects, different ways, different humanity projects. So they were all seated doing their own thing, individual groups here, individual groups here. But now's the time to converge all of these together. And this is what has begun and what's occurring. Because again, you look at upon the surface of the planet, some use numbers, that 1% were the oligarch, the evil, the dark, and 99% were the people. So you can see very quickly with those numbers that the people have the absolute power, and they do. And it's only a matter of getting everyone all connected. So the groups are already there, advanced with higher consciousness, advanced, even say technology to the degree that they consciously know how to do it and how to integrate it. So we're going to bring all of these groups together as one huge thing, and of course all of the people to join together to just slide into this new what we're creating, which frees them. So what you're going to see during the course with, the whole Trump escapades, what you are finding within the U.S., and if you're to look at the U.S. Um, government system and judicial system, it's just so complicated, but it was designed that way because that was the end of the road of the 2,000-year era. It had to be complicated where it got so complicated that it began to contradict itself. And at that stage, that's when it began to implode very rapidly. So what you're seeing is the whole foundation. You're even seeing the 1776 Constitution. In reality, you need to look at who wrote it, what it says, but you also need to look at how within the judicial system in the US it always kept getting overridden and compromised. So this shows you, that things weren't really exactly as you see. And not picking on the US for a moment, I'll go to Canada. The same thing you're seeing within the Canadian Constitution, and also what you're seeing uh, with Serbia as well. But before I go to Serbia, I got to go back to the US. So, what you're going to see is all of the people that are there, more or less with Trump, what you call the patriots, and all of the awakened community. We're creating this. They have to, where am I at here? They got to converge with this up there. So we'll see what occurs. Have no fear what is playing out over the next few weeks till the 20th of January. It has to divinely play out like this. And during this whole course, it is given more information for the masses awakening, and it's awakening more. But it's also setting uh, the groundwork that they need something, that they need the hope, they need something to go towards. So you can look at the Trump thing as a steering timeline to take them towards this new where everyone will be at. And it's not a blind faith, it's not a blind hope. It is an actual reality which can be implemented within the blink of an eye. We just need all the people together, and that is happening and it's coming. So these things are imminent. The timing of them, I say they can be done in the blink of an eye, and however, that depends on some linear things here. It depends on each one of you, and it depends upon the linear timing of getting everyone together and connected and getting this out. However, I'll remain at this time. Uh, I'm saying in about 6 months we can have this all implemented, if not before. It can be done in a couple months. It just depends on the energetic events playing out and how long it takes them to come to fruition to the extent that they need to, that it is fully realized that the old laws and old ways of the system no longer work. So, what you'll quickly see, but you're already seeing it. You're seeing the people, and Trump has said this, that the people has to get together because all of government and the judicial system's all corrupt. So again, in times of tyranny and the last resort, the power always goes to the people. And if you look in the U.S. with just some quick numbers, perhaps you got in the U.S. I did look at how many the numbers were, but if you look at in the U.S., the number of good people again are the huge majority. So out of 300 and some million people, you got I don't know, maybe 95% are the people. So again, you have no government. And when they complicate also within the states, when you get down to the sheriffs, I saw in the US as have to work for the people. You don't need to start at the bottom where the sheriff's at and work your way up. You just take out the top thing. And that's been taken out now with the election fraud and all being revealed. And then everything underneath crumbles. All things of authority, because what you're doing, the top structure, let's take with the US, the whole government and the whole Constitution has shown that it is corrupt. So that is crumbling right at this very moment. Everything under it, all of your Congress, all of your parties, everything under that whole construct crumbles as well. And when I first come here upon the surface in 2011, the first thing what we did, is we went for the top of the pyramid. That's where we were hitting them to destruct everything underneath. So we interjected into the top of the pyramid. Um, this is what we hit first. So we interjected that with energetic, creative events that trickled down through, and it was a self destruct mechanism. As creators, this is how we work to see the timeline and to set it up. Also, in 2012, when we came here, we took out the time traveling, what they had. This had to be taken out because they were actually, prior to that, traveling in time. Yeah, this is how they knew who you were and what the possibilities were in the future. But where we took that out, and let's say we had something that they did not anticipate, where let's say they underestimated their opposition, which is divinity, which is all powerful, so they were caught off guard as well. So you had them, let's say, us important light ones, chasing us, and in their timelines, it had showed them prior that they could kill us. But the thing is, there's so many possible timelines, and when we change that, unbeknownst to them, then they find out, we couldn't be killed. They're saying, what? Like, what's going on? And it was also, they knew at that time that they had begun to lose power, and they knew something was up. But I'll get back online what I was saying. So what you're going to see is, yes, here I'm going to have another cigarette. What you're going to see here in the near future, it's already happening, is all the people globally becoming aligned. Now, what I'm going to say, uh, with Serbia, I wish to speak a moment about Serbia and the people of Serbia. What they had did uh, with the people against the corrupt government, what they had there is they took all of the proper channels and went through with their constitution, everything that was supposed to be credible, that were the tools that were there for the people. So they went and they did all of this, but nothing happened. So what you have still in Serbia, still holding, um, unofficially, the seat of power is the past president, but it's supposed to be the people. It has been all decreed, all written, and all legally done within Serbia's legal system, yet it was not recognized. The people of Serbia had passed it around worldwide to get recognition from other governments. To my knowledge, and I believe only one other government recognized their sovereignty. Now, this is substantial, and one of the reasons why it's substantial is because within international law in the old system, which is supposed to be law, they did everything correct. So automatically, it should have been recognized globally, but it wasn't. And this is important. The reason why it was not is because all of the other governments globally are also corrupt. So again, by direct default, the power has to go to the global people because there is no one to enforce the international law when the governments are corrupt and did not respect nor accept what the people of Serbia did. So this is a huge and a prime example why everything must destruct. There is no valid international law. There is no valid law to make you wear a mask. There is no laws whatsoever. They are all null and void because they cannot be enforced unbiasedly. They're being forced biasedly which negates and voids the laws. It makes them all invalid. And in these times of tyranny and great suppression upon the people, again, it enacts the people's law, the God given law, the people's court, which has the supremacy over international law. Upon the surface, the highest law you can get is the God given rights of the people. It has the supreme authority. So this has been fully enacted globally at this time. It was fully enacted even before this time. Over the last year, it has become more prevalent to the degree why it needs to be enacted, but also why it is. So this is important. So you get the picture. And with the new system, simply, it was, let's say, God's law was, and not even the Ten Commandments. Be wary with them. As we know, things were manipulated in the Bible. And but with God's law, it's very simple. Cause no physical harm to another. Now, that's a pretty simple law. That's all you need to live by. But also assist and share with others and live in peace and harmony. Respect others' beliefs, knowing that that is what they believe. Do not infringe upon their beliefs, but be friends with them and live in peace and harmony, and allow everyone to believe what they want to believe. But God's laws are simple. You don't need it written. All of you come with God's laws in your heart. Your heart is the law. And it is not written on any piece of paper. So in times like this, you are your own law connected with all of the other people that are for the people and that do not have ill intent towards it. So I'm preaching here, but you get the point. So looking at some of my notes here. Yeah, so again, the darkness, they are very afraid in this time, and they'll resort to the most desperate, blatant acts. Intimidation was one of their tactics, and however, again, they are nothing more than pests that are trickling away. And I need to say that. And Father reminded me again today that no evil goes forward. We are here to save humanity, and to do this, no evil goes forward. They had their choices uh, over linear time a few years ago was their last choice to fully surrender. And there was a few then, but what I will say in 2012, prior to that, the main darkness here was given the opportunity to surrender, but they didn't. So they were taken out directly, disassembled from any energetic consciousness, and what was left were the remnants of this, mostly for training purposes and to um, assist somewhat with raising, let's say, the humans by giving them the experience to overcome a lot of the darkness. So there were a lot of yous that were, doing your inner work and ascending, but there were things that you experienced, let's say with dark entities or whatever. But these were divine constructs to empower you to overcome the fear, to learn how to deal with the other real remnants of the darkness that was out there so you could assist other ones, especially at this time, to raise them up, out of that conditioning and programming. So, and this is what is occurring and what we're doing. Um, Yeah. So, again, with Serbia, it was just rejected by the world. And again, just puts more evidence on how everything is corrupt and why the global peoples must take the, the matters into their own hands. And we began to see this, in Germany at the protests there last year, last fall. We began to see people from all over the world, or from around the world coming in, and but also you heard some of you. I heard Trump mentioned. I don't watch much of it, but I heard him mention in his speech, at the huge Washington rally last night, that there were ones from around the world that were also there. So with the people, what you are seeing is the people standing up globally and supporting these things. And of course, again, what happens in the US and what happened, it is the first domino to fall to retrace and expose all of the darkness that was here to the rest of the people. So it had to begin in the U.S. because that was the furthest extent of the corrupt darkness. So we had to begin there backwards to ripple it back towards time and connect the Vatican, the British monarch, all of this, and to show right back to Moloch and Baal and right back to the Sumerians the whole way to show how it was totally infected as well. For those of you that needed to know that, many didn't need to do it, but we had to send the self-destruct sequences back through time energetically as creators because we are also changing history and the reality. And as most of you come to know, history was not written correct, and what you're finding is artifacts and many things through antiquity are coming up, are being found, which would contradict what was written. And because this is the new timeline in the new history for humanity with the truth, which is beginning to be revealed to show the actual truth. And it's also it also begins to show how history was manipulated as well. And within the vaults of the Vatican is a lot of the hidden truth, which is beginning to be exposed as well. What the Vatican had locked away to keep control over the people. And it was all divinely allowed to happen, but within these documents, what was in the Vatican is the ways to ascend. And, the Pope couldn't do it or any of the ones within the Vatican because they have ill intent. And the key to ascension is purity of heart. So, the evil and the dark cannot ascend. And that's been the way they were condemned here to this lower dimension reality many eons ago. Billions of years, if you want to look at it in linear time, it doesn't matter. But they were condemned here because there was something that did occur within creation, which is the reason for it. And one of the things with Jesus when he would say, trying to let a rich man go to heaven was like trying to fit a camel through the eye of the needle. Well, a rich man, the reason he got rich, part of that was greed and using others and stepping on them. And, these are qualities and energetic values that one cannot have to ascend. They got to be let go of. And so, there's many things that are truths within the Bibles and the teachings, but I will say again that, and as we all know in mechanical com- confirmation or what's the word? When they put they last refined the Bible, they keep omitting things like the book of Thomas and these are other important things, but also, there's been a lot of distortion and manipulation in what did occur. But, anyways, so we are in the separation phase. Got that done. We can't take evil forward. Everyone knows that, so they are being separated. These are indeed the last days, and a lot of energetic things are occurring. Um, at this point, we need to get upon the planet. What we have is India and China are the two most populated areas of the planet, and I think respectively China 1.6 and India 1.4 billion. So you're looking at about 3 billion people. Uh, let's say India is well advanced because Hinduism and these other beliefs, as we know, and also the Christ belief that they are closer to the ascending virtues and values and instruction. So, for the most part, India is, I would say, Indian people are a little bit more advanced. However, uh, into China, there are also advanced ones, but because of the CCP, the communists, and the bad dragon energy, they were suppressed and reclused, if you will, kept separated. But what we also need is, uh, again, in China, as we know, there's only the dynasty, like in the ruling. Well, really, it's not even the ruling party because that has already been established for the Chinese people. The new party is already uh, in reality, so it's just a removal of um, what you would call the Communist Party, which is not really, it's legally not the government of China. But nevertheless, I don't need to get into those details. What we do need to do is the people need to get the information uh, into China and India and also Russia with getting the people online. Now, with Putin, as I said, for the most part, a lot of things were pretty quiet in there. However, with Putin, some things were um, some things were delivered to the people in lines of this. Very quickly with Jacera Nacera RV instruments, some of that may come out very quickly as a transitory thing, but it really, we can skip this whole stage. And the reason why is because it is primitive to what is very plausible and possible here and now for the people. You don't need to go into the limited money situations and just dispersing huge amounts of money to just a few people. No, this is about all of humanity, and we can do it much more efficiently and quickly at what we're doing with the global people's new monetary system and simplified law. So again, it only needs the global consent of the people, and we're keeping it so easy that, again, I say even a child under 12, once they look at it and simply just look at it and compare it to what they have now, again, it's a no-brainer. And we don't need to complicate it by writing out a definite plan, because one of the reasons is you initiate it and you start it but by putting this money, instant cash, all over the place, you cure so many little things. So you don't need to be specific at trying to control things. You're better to let the money go in there and work with it as it goes instead of trying to write out a definite plan. So you want to put that first infusion of money to all of the people and into all of the industry and companies that are essential to the evolvement of humanity. So you don't want to, and you also want to be, but very quickly, see, as you keep putting the money in, you've got the people as the huge think tank that the people know what to do. And it's so easy that they all come together in harmony. You got the stress. This is the first thing, taking the stress off of them by just creating instant money for everyone, unlimited, no taxes, no debt. So this initial freedom, it creates the happiness and the harmony for everyone. They're more apt to work together. Your solutions come very quickly, and you may not even see any problems at all. All you're going to see is solutions to advance everything beautifully forward. So once we break the control of the money out of the hands of the few, that was the banks and the governments, we put this into the people. We wipe out wealth disparity. We wipe out poverty, homelessness. Your sickness is going to drop considerably because most sickness is caused by stress. And once you free ones up, you are going to see a lot of beauty with this. And of course, as I said, a lot within the militaries and the police that are working for the governments. This what we're given is a no-brainer for them. What are you going to choose to support a government that's keeping you working all your life, and you got children growing up, and what are you going to do? Let your children, be part of that enslavement that they'll go to school for 10 or 12 years and then go to college and have huge bills to pay. Like, no, it's a no-brainer even for good the police and the military. So what are they going to support? They're going to go with the people, and any of them that are good are not going to be harming the people. For them to harm the people, any police and military, they're actually harming themselves. And so again, it's a no-brainer. And any of the liked politicians that were in there, get on board with this and begin, if you wish. You don't even need to be a part of it, and in fact, it would be better if you weren't, to allow the people to administrate this. But at least you can support it, promote it, and give it to the people as the ultimate option. Do your part. You're to represent the people, even though you're not representing them in a government before. You do have some leadership qualities. That's why you were there in the first place, mostly. Some of you were planted in there. Um, However, there were some legitimate peoples that put some of you in there. So come to your absolute senses now and look at what we're doing and support it and join it for the sake of your families as well. So I could say a lot more, and I don't need to. So the thing is, the old system uh, cannot be repaired because it was not foundationed in integrity, and nothing with integrity can go forward into this new. And you will find this every time. If you try to make the old banking system work for you, you're going to have complications. If you try to make old politics and governments and old laws work for you, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to keep looping and looping and be suppressed. You've got to throw all of this away and start new. This is the only way. Rip out the entire page of the last 2,000 years of leaders and rulers. Throw it all away. It doesn't apply. You are the people. We are the people. And this is the new governing body, and you don't act like the other governments where everything was designed to enslave and keep control. This is absolutely the opposite. So you have a new book, you write a new page, you don't take anything from their old system other than the access to distribute the open ended money. You do not require any bullion backed monetary system. It's ridiculous when you have the opportunity to create money out of thin air the same way that the banks and the governments have been doing it for a long, long time. So, where them few had the privilege, the bankers and the governments, to create it, you have the right, all of you together, to create as much as you want. There doesn't have to be a limit. The old bankers and governments created the limit on it to keep you suppressed and to keep with their other agenda and their ill intent. So this is unrestricted, unlimited, but going forward, we'll keep. You need to have a little bit of control as we transition society because you don't want everything being chaotic. So you need to begin to incrementally administer the funds in comfortable lots. Then as we go forward, things open up more freely where more money is created instantly and distribute it. And you do reach a point where you don't even need money like you do today. So things will work very fluently. So what you do is you turn the entire global people into one global community where everything is working together, and you will get the harmony because again what caused the disharmony was the lack of money, the deprivation of it, and the control of it that was done by the greed, by the banks, by the governments to maintain a control over people. So you escape all of this, and as I said, the governments are going to implode. They are, and right at this point, actually, every government is de facto. It's de facto, meaning that it doesn't have any power. It only has power when the people think it does and wish to support that. But when the people know that they are the power, the governments have none. They don't exist. None of their efforts, they cannot enforce anything upon anyone. If they do, it becomes crimes against humanity and it only further incriminates them. But down the road, somewheres, there is a justice that they must face. The same as every leader upon the planet now that has suppressed its people. But look what happened with the corona when governments could have give everyone around the world financial assistance to keep them going. They chose no. Oh, we got to look out for the economy. So they showed you that their main priority was on the economy, but not on the people. They were worried about the money, like which is absolutely nonsense and sick. You elected these ones in governments in the past to protect your interests and to protect you. The not to. It's absolute laughable and nonsense. For the governments, we got to protect the economy with all this money. So their focus was going to keep a material economy alive while all the people could have died. It's absolutely preposterous. And with that incompetence and lower consciousness, these are not ones to lead. So we have many light workers that are here, and many, many more, many light leaders that are well endowed with the higher consciousness to take things forward very efficiently and very harmoniously. So, one of the things is keep things simple going along. And if you're looking at the divine plan, that I and others now, we are a team. It's growing bigger. What we're putting out there, just keep following it along. We're going to keep refining it and evolving it, and it pretty well fits everyone now. However, we wish to keep it simple and to keep it, straightforward with a couple directions up here so that we don't waver to the side. We want to keep everyone transitioning smoothly and good forward. So, everyone, tell all of your friends, and we don't have the signing page up, autograph page yet. We're working on this site. It will be up in a day or two, and we're going to keep expanding as we go outward, meaning that the Facebook, it can accommodate a certain amount of members or at least representations of groups, but will what I'm feeling will advance out of this because Facebook will not have the capacity of if we're to get into the billions. So we'll look at that, and we have all solutions for everything, and this is the way we work. And like John Lennon, I guess, said, there's no problems, there's only solutions, and we are in this most amazing time where it is. And the more we have the people and the higher consciousness communities coming together to work at this and support this, the easier that it makes it for us all. And we have the light community, or light community leaders are upon the planet. They've been strategically, divinely placed all over the planet in every country, and in these times began to uh, disseminate the plan and share it with your neighbors and all of everyone. That's what I suggest. Okay, that's good. I have to use the washroom, so everything is going in accordance to divine plan. So we have the upper, what we got. We're building this. You are all part of it. We're all part of it, constructing it for the rest to come up into it. So this is the hope. We have the direction for all of humanity. We have their hope to take them out of the old corruption, deceit, and imploding timelines. So we have this, and we're building this bigger and build bigger. So this is the sanctuary, but this is heaven on earth in the complete harmony. And closing with this, I would not be here saying this, and uh, let's say if I was not who I say I am, yeah, I would not even be here. And this is why I speak freely, and it's why I'm here with all of you. So, woo! Love and light, and we keep going forward. So, thank you all, and have an amazing day. And I didn't answer questions because I had a lot to say. Yeah. So, love and light, Prime Creator is very real for any of you that don't know that yet, and so many divine ascended masters are here upon the planet, and the divine ground crew is in the millions, which are omnipotent, and everything is all coming together, and many of them are getting more of their memory back. What comes with their memory comes the power, their divine power, as well as they clean up their negative ways that they had of acting and reacting in the fear ways, and then they come more into their power. So, woohoo! Gotta go. Love you. And we did this, and we're doing it, and I'm so happy and excited to be here at this most glorious time. As you've heard, there were a lot that wanted to be upon the planet at this time, and they're coming very quickly in the children. So it's beautiful. So I love you. Love and light. Woohoo! Thank you. Much gratitude.